What's up, everybody? Welcome to Friday with the Fellas. I am Sonia, and I'm joined by B and James. What's up, y'all? How you doing?
What up, though?
Refresh. Coming off of a little small vacay. So yeah, doing good. Hope you're doing
Are
well. I hope
you
you are too, BA.
the Big Easy area?
Close. I was more so
Oh,
the big country area in Mississippi versus New Orleans. So yeah, I was in Mississippi visiting my father. But yeah, good times.
okay. Good. Glad that all is well. Welcome to everybody coming in. Shout out to Pink Fan Fur, the realest real creator out there. And B, heard you had some good weather up in Michigan. Hopefully,
It's nice all week,
nice
sunny and
all week.
good temperatures. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. So what's up, Dizzle?
What's a ride,
Um,
Dizzle?
all right, y'all. So we got this nice 50 seconds. I'm sitting here trying to figure out why I can't see. Oh, because I would have to hit select. I was trying to hit see. Okay, now you can hear it. Sorry, guys. Trying to see how it looked on the big screen. But anyway, welcome to Friday with the Fellas. And of course, this is another edition of everything we got going on. And we're going to talk NBA playoffs first. We're going to move over to the NHL. And then we got, believe it or not, a little bit of MLB and NFL news to cover as well. I'll start out with the great news. The NHL Stanley Cup playoffs and ice recaps are definitely going down right now. The Ice Stanley Cup playoffs are delivering pure chaos. Battle for the cup is getting physical, and the depth chart are being tested heavily by injuries. Let's look at the baseline. The regular season wrapped up with the Buffalo Sabres shocker. They won the Atlantic Division with 109 points, just edging out the Tampa Bay Lightning and Montreal Canadiens, who both finished with 106. In the Metro, the Carolina Hurricanes were the class of the East with 113 points. Out west, the Colorado Avalanche absolutely dominated the Central Division with a massive 121 points, while the Vegas Golden Knights took the tight Pacific Division with 95 points. But the playoffs are a different season entirely. We're down to the final four in the conference finals. Let's talk about some of those last game recaps. B, I know you're heavily involved in NHL as well. Because the execution has been just razor sharp. In the East, we've seen brutal classic hockey matchups, heavy hitters wearing each other down in neutral zones. We've seen a lot of overtimes. I was a little leery about my Hurricanes the other night in that overtime thriller. And it looks like goaltending has really taken over. The margin of error right now is basically zero.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to the surprising part. The Las Vegas Golden Knights, they swept Colorado, and that was like really shocking. But like, it's kind of like, though, in the NHL, you got to expect the unexpected, because it's not like the NBA or the NFL or even Major League Baseball. A team that's put together well might not make it all the way through. And usually the teams that are more susceptible to losing in the playoffs are the ones that win the President's Trophy, which the good old Colorado Avalanche did. With the 115 wins. So it doesn't always work out that way. And I did think that Colorado was because they were going through the playoffs just like the Hurricanes were. They were just whooping everybody's behind. So, you know, the Knights are winning. I don't know. Like right now, we got the
My
Carolina
Canes are
Hurricanes
winning 3-0
3-0
into the
in
first.
the
Into the
first. Yeah.
first. Look, I was hoping you would let me talk about my team. I was waiting
Like,
for you to
go
bounce it
talk
back
about
to
talk,
me, but I'm
talk
gonna
about it.
let you go ahead.
Talk
But
about it. No, you go ahead. Talk about it.
no, we got it. It's the end of the
Because we got
first.
three and one. They're 3-1. They got a 3-1 lead in a series. So this could be the wrap up game for them.
Could be the wrap
And
game. I'm super proud. I guess I'll go
good
out and
evening,
get
Rick.
me.
Good evening, Danny.
What's up, Rick? What's up, Danny? And I think I saw Yenzer or
Yep,
one of
Yinzer was on
of
there.
our
Yeah,
regulars. What's up, y'all?
Yinzer's been.
Okay. Make sure you guys share this as well. I mean, I'm this close, y'all, to going out and getting me some Canes gear. I don't own any Canes
You
gear.
need to.
I need to go before they really, because if they win it all, and I'm hoping they do, the gear is going to be super expensive. So congratulations to any Carolina team except the Tar Heels. Never
We
there.
know you're there.
Never them. But any other Carolina teams, I'm always down for rooting for those guys. So kudos to them. All right. Well, let's move on over to the NBA. I know this is what everybody's on here screaming about. James, did you get a chance to check out any of the playoffs that we've had thus far, especially this week?
Yep, this to me. I already called in the beginning. I don't like to toot my own horn, but I said this will be a 7-game series, and I knew this probably be the best series of the whole playoffs in the NBA, ladies and gentlemen. And right now is living up to the billing. I mean, those boys. I think everybody knew that the Spurs would bounce back and win a game. They win it at home. It seems like wherever they're playing, that's where that team. If you're at home, you're winning that game. Yeah.
Yinzer, I said hello twice. Oh my goodness.
Yes.
Yinzer, get your hearing aid checked.
Yeah, man. I mean, get it working, brother. I mean, you got to get a new audiologist out there. Get your hearing aids working. So, yeah, I just think that right now, one team is missing a player, but there's no excuse for it. And he's been ruled out already. And that player is Jalen Williams, J-Dub, as they dub him as, no pun intended there. He won't be playing, but look, somebody else steps up, and 15 points is what SGA was held to. And I know he's been getting a lot of flack for supposedly flopping for every play he gets. And so it's just been a really good series right now. I think Wemby had a really good game with 28 points and 10 rebounds. They just bounced back. But I look for this team to go back home, in OKC, and SGA is going to have the best game of his series, good, bad, or indifferent. Whether they win or lose, he's probably going to have it like he's been averaging 31.1 points a game. I think he's going to have a 30-point game in this one, probably a 40. And I think they edge out the San Antonio Spurs and go on and win and get to the finals to meet the New York Knicks.
Do you agree?
No. I think San Antonio will win because SGA hasn't scored above 25 points in the whole series, 27 points. I think he had 32 the other night. But most of that came on free throws. Come on. He had a crappy game, and he even said so himself. He hasn't had a good game in this series. He hasn't had a good game in this playoffs at all, to tell you the truth. So I don't see how that's going to happen. That's going to change overnight, and he's going to have a good game because they're just going to stifle him some more. But that goes to the effect. Is he going to play at the MVP level that people voted him to be, or is he going to be playing like the flopper everybody's making him to be? Same thing with Wemby, though. Is Wemby going to be the human cheat code, or is he going to be wimpy? Because he's been on and off of this whole series. Whenever he does really good in the series, San Antonio wins. Whenever he has a crappy game, they lose. He's got to be the guy in this game 7 that puts it on. Because if he don't put it on, they ain't winning they ain't gonna win that game. So we'll see. I'm looking for SA, but if OKC wins, I mean it can go either way. So
yeah, James flagged for flopping. I doubted it because I don't watch much NBA. Thank you, Danny. It hurts his eyes, but his son was disappointed that he would even root for OKC for the flopping issues. I will say this. I mean, you got to sell it, right? We've seen this back since the 90s. Even back then we've had players that's been flopping, selling, what have you. But one thing about it, when you look back at the East and the New York Knicks have been absolutely a buzzsaw. I mean, they literally dismantled the Cleveland Cavaliers in a clean 4-0 sweep for the finals. This is their first time in the finals in 3 decades? Now let's talk about that last game recap. Game 4 was a master class in execution. I mean, they were putting on a clinic. The Knicks blew the doors off the entire offense and defense of the Cavaliers, 130-93. I mean, I thought I was seeing things when I looked at that score. New York dominated in the paint. Their perimeter defense was solid, and they completely suffocated Cleveland's backcourt. Cavs looked entirely just tired. They just looked defeated from the start. And the Knicks just went ahead and punched their ticket to the finals with zero fallback, zero hesitation. They were there and they were ready to go. And it looked like a bloodbath. I mean, the Knicks didn't just win. They absolutely embarrassed a very good Cleveland team. I mean, Cleveland has been that team that nobody really looked at for a while, but it was at the Garden. You already know what type of environment that's going to bring. Y'all already know how New Yorkers are. So they had the Garden rocking. Spike was up in there. And New York, for real, looks like a legitimate championship contender. I mean, and a lot of the pundits out there are saying they're that sneaky underdog that could actually win it all.
It ain't happening. It's not happening. There's no team in the East that's going to be able to be either OKC or SA. This is not happening. It's not happening. And New York, relatively, all the teams in the East are kind of like anyway. I wasn't too impressed with Cleveland. I wasn't too impressed with the 76ers. I wasn't impressed with Atlanta, because Atlanta was the one I should have been impressed with, because they came in there with swinging, and they just fell apart. I don't know what happened to Atlanta. They just fell all the way apart, and New York just took advantage of that. But I think the problem that New York's going to have in this championship, whoever they play, is adversity. They haven't had any adversity. That 2-1 thing, that ain't really adversity. They came back for it was Atlanta. Okay, I'm sorry, it was Atlanta. They have no adversity, and you got two teams that are playing to a game 7. So they're just the two strongest teams in the NBA right now. That's
yeah. I gotta agree with Brian on this one. I like the drive that the Knicks have. I like the fact that they are dominating teams, but they're dominating. It's like a high school team dominating elementary school teams that they're playing. It's like the level of competition wasn't really there. They didn't meet Boston, and Boston, when they lost, they lost. Who they lose to? Cleveland, right? Did Boston lose to Cleveland? No, who did Boston?
No, they lost to 76ers. They lost to the 76ers.
They lost 76, and it seemed like everybody was just canceling out each other. And it's just, and New York had a kind of easy way. And like you said, Atlanta, they were down 2-1 to Atlanta, and Atlanta gave a good punch. To me, if the Knicks win the World Series, if they go on and win the finals, the NBA finals, it would be like a comparison to George Foreman with the punch that that was heard around the world when he hit Michael Moore and knocked him out at 45 years old. It would be like that type of win. That would be if you didn't think it was going to happen, but it happened. And then they even said that in the competition. It happened, ladies and gentlemen. You can't believe that it happened, but it did happen. So and I like Jalen Brunson. I like him a lot. I think he's an overachiever for what he is and what he's done. He's a legitimate superstar in the NBA for a small guard. But it's too many bigs on both sides, and there's too much depth that they got to face and contend with. It's really going to be like a really tough matchup. It's already a tough matchup. They just went 7. They're going 7 on the West side, and there's nobody that they matched up with over there. So it's going to be really tough. And I love, again, like I said, I love some of the players on that team. I like the fact that Mike Brown is getting an opportunity to get back to the finals. I didn't think he would do better than what Thibodeau did last year, and lo and behold, here they are. They're there. So the Knicks are for real. But
yeah, and that's what's so big, because they did just fire Thibodeau. And usually when you go through a coaching change, no matter what the sport is, there's a period of acclimation that is sometimes substantial, and no one thought that just a season removed, that in the very next season. So you begin to wonder, Knicks fans out there, feel free to weigh in. Was he the problem? Was he the issue? I don't like to always blame the coach, but I guess in some instances, when you have the same players that are there and you see them make those strides, then it was the coach. So you're right, James. I definitely see that literally 2020 vision there.
Well, the difference of last year's team and this year's team, they have a bench. Last year they didn't have a bench. And they got a few better players on their bench than they had last year. So let's give that credit for them building that part of the team up. And I think they learned that from Thibodeau not playing the bench players as much, because he didn't have confidence in their game. And so, once you develop your bench, then you can use players in spots and be confident what they're going to do or bring to the court. So I think Mike Brown did a very good job as a coach. I think he did what he had to do with who he had, and I give him kudos for that. But New York was a good team anyway. The starting five was, great anyway. You weren't going to be able to change the production from that. But they just needed some players off the bench to chip in when they needed to chip in, and that's what they've been doing. So that's
even
New
through
York's
all these
success.
injuries, this late in the game, this late in the season, the postseason, upcoming games, current series, and a lot of shifts because we've seen players with a lot of physical limitations during this point of the series, torn labrums, high ankle sprains, you name it, and they're still surviving until the very next week. And I've actually had surgery for a torn labrum, so I know. I can only imagine as a professional athlete what that type of rehab and just stamina and the cortisone shots they've got to go through until they can get to the surgical part of it. It just actually shows that in the very end, like you all mentioned, the bench coming up and being the best advantage this year. This series with New York and whoever advances from the West is going to come down to who has the deepest bench, in my opinion. And honestly, who's got the highest pain tolerance because everybody's beat up at this point. I forgot to mention at the onset, Military Appreciation Month is wrapping up. Thank you so much to James and Brian for your service, the Navy and the Army, respectively. I said that opposite, Army and Navy, respectively. I want to follow the flow of your names. And also, Memorial Day was last week, honoring those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, as well as this was Mental Health Awareness Month. Had some people lined up that schedules did not permit as they were supposed to. So hopefully we can make those presentations because it's never designated just to a 30-day window, a 31-day window when mental health issues arise. And we want to be cognizant of that at all times. And also, this weekend is my grandfather's birthday, so he was a big sports advocate. So this is heavily birthday wishes for my gramps. His birthday would be tomorrow, May 30th. So coming up here just in the next few hours here. All right. So I guess B, you're saying one thing about the West, and James, you're saying the opposite. And James does tend to kind of tilt the pendulum there in the right direction. It's almost like he has this crystal ball into the future of sports. It's literally like if anybody has been watching us for a while, James has been like this from the onset. And it could be whatever sport it is. It's like, yeah, and he's always calm about it. And then you go back and you're like, oh my God, James said that. It could be about anything. And so definitely appreciate his insight, whether it's just, the knowledge he takes in and makes a good analysis of it, or if he does have this crystal ball that we don't know about. So kudos
I
to
keep
him.
my Swami hat off, my turban off, but I do have a Swami position over here. But no, I'm just kidding. Look, I really think OKC is going to win, and I just have a gut feeling that SGA is going to have his best game. He's like you said, he hasn't been efficient, but he's had 32 points and he's been high in his assists as well. And you can't count out the others, as Shaq likes to say, the others that are there. McCain has been on point. He's just a lethal gun sniper, just shooting threes. Whenever he get the ball in his hand, he don't even hesitate. And also, but I like the other side too. I like Wemby and I like Castle, and Castle kept his turnovers down too. That was one of the reasons why they were able to win that game. I don't think he only had one turnover last game. And but what's the kid's name? That Alex Caruso. I love the fact he played a darn good series. I was about to say another word, but he played a really good series in this game. It's just been a battle. Whoever wins this one, again, they're the one that's going to win the NBA Finals. But I really enjoyed this finals watching them both teams play. But I just have the edge with OKC on this one.
I'll just put it to you this way. I know these are not either one of our teams, but at the same time, would you put money on OKC? Because I wouldn't.
Yes.
I might say San Antonio. I wouldn't put money on San Antonio. I wouldn't put money on OKC if I was betting. I wouldn't put money on either one of the teams because You don't know what's going to happen. Remember, both of them
Fair
went
enough.
at each other's place. You know what I'm saying? So it could happen. And I just think that, well, I'm just going for San Antonio for other reasons. But anyway, the point of the matter is
Emotional reasons we've talked about.
I
Right?
am
okay,
right.
Tell me
I'm,
about
I'm
this.
putting
Okay,
logic in the sense. I'm putting
Yeah.
logic in the sense. I just think that the experience is going to play a vital role here, and that's the one thing I'm mentioning as well. I think they just don't have the experience. As great as they are, as great as the talent is, I just think the experience leans more. The pendulum leans a little bit more towards OKC, and in the last game, and they've been 7-game series in this matter before, and with Denver, I think last year, and they just were able to pull it out. I just think that they might. Well, it's no might. If you ask me about if I'm going to put money on it, yeah, I would roll the dice on OKC.
just
See,
saying at
and I
this
love
point
how
in
he used the
time,
word pendulum, just like we talked about. I love it, James. Right there, it's my brother.
and on top of that, we both kind of agreed that if the series went longer and longer, the bench is the effect. And let's be honest, OKC's bench is just nuts. They're a second NBA team. They're not even they come. I think they do have a second NBA team that comes in there and sits on the bench, so they have to play because 73. They put up 73 points in one game. I think like 60 something in another game. It's outrageous how that bench is scoring. And if like I said, it favors more OKC. If we're being real about it, it does favor more OKC because OKC has a deeper bench. They can basically take over the game when the starters aren't, if the starters aren't, get their head out of there, you know what. So, I mean, over a seven game series, it's going to wear. Their bench is way better than San Antonio's bench. I mean, San Antonio's bench is no slouch either, but they have
not.
OKC's depth is a lot more than San Antonio. So that might come into effect as well. So swinging the Pendleton to OKC.
Pendulum. Y'all not going to just butcher my. Now listen, if you're going to use the word B.
Pendulum. Anyway, so you swing it that way, then you might want to think that OKC is going to win. Realistically, I mean, I would probably go with OKC on that. But like I said, I'm going to go with San Antonio because I like San Antonio anyway. I like San Antonio. But
you're invested, yes. But we can all agree that this is an entertaining series. That's probably the most entertaining series. I think we can all agree on that.
I know, Robbie, because you don't have an NBA team. So sorry.
I want to give a shout out.
Oh, that's right. Your Toronto Raptors are out too.
Child, those Raptors are just like dinosaurs, extinct. I'll be forgetting they even have a team. I want to give a shout out to everybody who's allowed me to share. Thank you so much to all the groups that are allowing us to share. We are live right now, so please come on and say hello. We, believe it or not, still have some MLB news and some NFL news. I kind of want to, even though it's a little early, I kind of want us to go ahead and do the credits now so that once we get started on those, we can kind of keep it rolling from MLB to NFL. So B, if you'll run our commercial credits, James, B, and myself will be back in about 47 seconds. Guys, hang tight. Right, we are back. Welcome to the second half, the early second half of Friday with the Fellas. I'm Sonia, of course, with B and James, and we were wrapping up some closing thoughts on these NBA series. You guys got any closing thoughts? Both of you all are kind of in a stance, and we do agree though, whichever team has the best bench. And I think this is going to be the time that New York shows that to the whole world that they made the right decision in Thibodeau, because even me as a non-Knicks fan noticed that they were not playing the bench at all. But the West, everyone out there is always saying, the West is the best. And we're all Easterners. So if from a geographical perspective, even though J Train is technically from the Midwest, the West by birth, I don't know. I mean, who would you go for, J Train? I mean, you live here, but you're from home, and I know how home is, like.
You mean out of the last three teams here right
Yes.
now? I mean, kind of OKC because I just like the fact that they were small. I mean, or San Antonio. If San Antonio won, I would go for San Antonio. I wouldn't go for the Knicks at all.
So anybody out
It
of the
would,
West?
yes, it would be any team out of the West because I've always had an admiration for San Antonio too. When Tim Duncan and David Robinson was
Yeah.
playing for them,
Mhm.
and of course, Coach. What's the coach name? I forgot. Forgive me.
Popovich.
Yes, Popovich. Yes, I knew it was
Oh
Vitch
yeah,
something. I couldn't think.
Greg.
Sorry, I couldn't think of that. But
Greg
yes,
Popovich.
Greg Popovich. Yes, it's always been a really good team, and they beat some really strong teams in the finals and in the West. So I've always had an affinity for them. But of course, I'm still a Pelicans fan. But with that being said, I either one. I like small market teams and I like underdogs. And so these guys aren't really underdogs anymore, but they're all small market teams. And so they've come up. And I like to see a little bit of a dynasty start in one of which San Antonio already had one. Maybe
Mhm.
OKC starts one.
I guess I'm just, even though I'm not a Knicks fan at this point, it's like you said, when the Hawks and Hornets are out of it, it's fair game for whoever. But I will go geographically, and if it wasn't for the obstinate personality of New Yorkers, I would not have the problem with rooting for them. But they are just so uncouth. I mean, they are the rowdiest group of fans. They are literally like the Cowboys, but from New York. The Cowboys fans, but from New York. Like they're so obstinate in the way they cheer and just the way they live their life. Like it's just the New York way or no way. And so for that reason, I would not mind them going down like the Titanic. Uh,
Oh man, and then you haven't encountered Philadelphia's fan base.
That's what people keep telling me that the Eagles. I know Eagles fans, but it's that same region. They're only like an hour apart on I-95. It's that northeastern region. I don't think
They are
they're as
worse
bad.
though. They are worse than New York. Yes.
Yeah,
And some of the best fan
Well,
bases like Buffalo, Bills Mafia, some of the best people you can
they
encounter
are because they're
I
are
think
past
Green
with
Bay.
New York,
all
I
that
think with
hoodlum stuff. Yeah, they're
I think
past.
with New
There's
York,
there's Buffalo and then there's New York. They don't ever assimilate themselves in the same, even though they're both from the same. It's almost like Buffalo is basically just Canada and let it be that. They're not New York. Like they literally tell them you're not from New York if you're from Buffalo. I've heard like New Yorkers say that. Like if you
well,
ain't from New
I've
York
heard Buffalo
City,
people say like football teams, the Jets and the
yeah,
Giants, those are New Jersey teams. There's not New York teams, so they don't. They're the only New York team, the Bills. So
yeah. They really do. All right, so we're gonna switch over to the NFL. Well, actually, yeah, we're gonna switch over to the NFL. Then we'll wrap up with some MLB news. Believe it or not, the NFL does have some relevant news. Even though it's OTAs and things like that, league-wide news still goes on, and it's a brutal reminder of just how high the stakes are during non-contact OTAs, which are going on right now. Let's start out in New York, where John Harbaugh's first spring workouts with the Giants just took a catastrophic blow. Wide receiver Gunnar Olszewski is feared to have suffered a torn Achilles during Friday's practice. Harbaugh did confirm that it was a non-contact injury. How brutal is that? And they are doing further testing, but this is a nightmare trend actually for the Big Blue. This is not the first time. He's the third Giants player to suffer a torn Achilles in spring workouts already, joining their defensive lineman Roy Robertson Harris and their cornerback Thaddeus Dixon. And with Wan'Dale Robinson leaving in free agency and rookie Malik Neighbors is still trying to come back from his separate significant knee issue, I should say. The Giants receiving core is already under massive duress before June even hits, y'all.
Well, they're
yeah, I
going to be
wouldn't say
depending on.
duress.
Yeah, they're going to be dependent on Malachi Fields. They drafted him in, I think, in the second or third round.
They did.
Yeah, and obviously they don't know for sure if Malik Neighbors will be ready for game one, but he'll be ready at some point. I mean, and Wanda Robinson, but who did they pick up? They pick up somebody from Atlanta. Who was the kid? That played for Atlanta.
Their third receiver.
Yeah.
For some reason, I wasn't thinking they had solidified that. I can't remember his name offhand, but okay, well, I guess they'll just
he's a small wide receiver. Was it not Robinson? But he was a guy. He was a third down wide receiver. I forgot.
He played in Chicago, didn't he? Didn't he play Chicago before he got to Atlanta?
And then went to Atlanta. He's a good receiver.
He is a pretty good receiver. Yeah.
So they got some people, but you're right. I mean, depth is really an issue if you're losing somebody to an Achilles injury. And I don't know for sure if Gunner was a gunner or if he was someone that was going to make the team. I mean, I don't know what his position was, but quality depth is hard to come by when you have injuries, significant injuries.
You're talking about Darnell Mooney.
Darnell Mooney, yeah. He's actually a good player.
Mooney.
Yeah, he's a good. Well, they had issues in Atlanta with him, so
they're gonna be looking to start him though with Darius Slayton if Malik comes back. But I mean, like y'all said though, but that's 3 major injuries just in OTAs, and OTAs have only been starting a few weeks now. So I don't know. You know, the New York Giants were all banking on Coach Harbaugh coming there and them reigniting the magic. I don't know. Fern, I hope you're watching because this may just let you know. And Jets fans can tell you best when they were signing Aaron Rodgers how the hype was real and how he went snap, crackle, pop in the first possession of the game, and their season was a wrap. So not wishing ill, but it's just the reality of the game we played that you can never be too cocky because injuries will befall us all, professional or non-professional. But those 3 Achilles tears in one spring is definitely a bad luck, honestly. It's going to force a serious internal review of your training surfaces because there's no way this is just like 3 random non-contact injuries. Come on, y'all. Just for regular conditioning routines and for this team trying to establish a new culture under Coach Harbaugh and break in their rookie quarterback, Jackson Dart, losing that type of structural depth right now is a massive setback. I know they got other people to fall back on, but it's just not, there's never a good time for injuries, but this is a crucial time when you're trying to acclimate, the team to the new coaching change and things like that. But moving on over to New England, the Patriots actually cleared up a major piece of their type of contract leverage today. Right guard Mike Onwenu, sorry, tongue tied there. He had a 0 guaranteed money left on his contract. Just signed a revised deal for 2026 season. He secures $10 million in guarantees and bonuses. And more importantly, for the Patriots front office, it's going to shave off $7.5 million off his salary cap as he's going to enter the final year of his contract. So that's going to be a big business move. What's up to you, Steve-O? A big business move for him, not just by Mike Vrabel in the front office, but it's going to be a foundational piece of their offensive line, while giving them some money to try to get some more people in during some summer veteran cuts.
Yeah. I don't know what to say about that whole situation because really those are like
emergency
basic signings at the end. Yeah, basic signings at the end before during OTAs.
Get them some more veteran cuts from some of these teams. That gives them at least 7.5.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's still some vets out there that you can get. Deebo Samuel's still out there. There's a lot of people still out there that you're gonna. Yes, he's still out there.
That's crazy.
I mean, he is. I mean, he's a specific type of player that's injury prone, and he's past 30. So I mean, yeah, he's not the guy that he was in the beginning of his career when he played for
5'5" or something like that too. So
I don't know if he's 5'5", but
he's cute. But when I saw how short he was, I was like, oh yeah, no. I'm sorry.
Don't want no short man.
Debo, oh no, okay. I mean, but you got to always take care of teams in the trenches. Like, think about Dallas. The media in the league just handed some major flowers to their franchise quarterback, Dak Prescott. The Professional Football Writers of America named him the league winner of the 2026 Good Guy Award for his professionalism and accessibility with the media, because he's always calm and talking to them. You don't see him, looking like he don't want to be bothered. I mean, and especially after a loss. Let's be clear. Dallas is not NFC East champs. So they took some L's. And Dallas fans don't come here talking about how y'all record was the same as ours. You still didn't go to the playoffs. Let it be that. But anyway, he's actually the first Dallas Cowboy player to win that award since 2005. So they've basically never given it to a Cowboy, and that's the year that they actually started this award. So Dallas fans, at least you have one type of win this season, and that's your Good Guy Player Award for Dak Prescott. I mean, he does handle a lot of stuff, y'all. A lot of postseason execution and things like that. When things are bad, he's had his contract up for debate. The drama down there with Jerry Jones and you know all the stuff that he has and with the contracts, but Dak still seems to remain in Dallas, even when the fans, and I know several fans in my family that wanted him out, that were praying for him to be out, and were angry that he was not out, because every time he is up for a big contract, he goes down with some type of major injury. And so you don't ever get to really see him make the plays that the money should match, if that makes sense.
Mm, I mean, he's still one of the most elite quarterbacks out there. I mean, if we had to pick right now of all the quarterbacks right now, I'm putting Dak at least top seven, top five, somewhere
Mm,
around there.
Hmm.
top
Yeah,
five?
yeah. He's
He's
just
consistent
man,
quarterback. He's a
he's
consistent
Okay,
consistent.
all
quarterback.
right. Now, okay, since y'all are saying that, this is gonna make me pivot for a moment. Well, who are the other four ahead of him if he's number five?
That's I have to look at a list. Really, it's hard to really gauge. I
And
mean,
this
I'm
is
I'm gonna
present day
put
quarterbacks, not
I put Matthew Stafford probably in the top two. Uh, I would have to look at some other names there that are there. It's really hard. I have to see the list that I
we'll
can
have to
really
talk
put that
about.
out
We'll
there.
we'll put a pin in that for another show. I know James
Yeah.
will remind me because he's probably already making a mental note, and he'll be like, "Yes, sis. So you know, this is my list." I'm like, "Oh, well, hold on. We can talk about that the next show then." All right. Well, I just had to ask you guys that. And then Nick Bosa for the 49ers actually spoke out today about having a very long road back from that torn right ACL he suffered in week 3 last season. That lets y'all know just how long ACL recoveries really are, because typical surgeries, just from you and I's perspective, it's 6 to 12 weeks of recovery. But these athletes, they are having like year long almost recovery. And I think traditionally, guys, isn't it like 18 months that they normally say is for total healing on those type of injuries?
I mean, no, like if he wanted to come back, he can come back and play within a year, but you still might have some, and it varies on the player. You might have some lingering effects, but I mean, let's put the outlier that's out there in 2012. Adrian Peterson came back in 7 or 8 months and
Yeah.
ended up being the MVP. So I mean, I guess it just varies on what your severity of your ACL
What?
tear was, and other parts of the ligaments that may have torn. I mean, when I tore my ACL, I tore partial medial collateral ligament. I had
Ooh.
ACL tear, and it's complete, and I had meniscus damage, and so it took me
Oh,
a while. Yeah, for sure, it took a while to recover. So it just all depends on what you're doing, and but these professional athletes, these guys can come back quicker. I mean, because they have all the access to some of the best technology in recovery. So he should be back starting.
I guess I'm thinking
Day
about,
one.
yeah, I guess I'm thinking about Achilles can be longer as
Yeah,
well. That's the
that I
one. Hey,
mean, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, you go ahead, James.
I was gonna say, yeah, with the Achilles, it's probably a little bit different, but even now, the way that technology has improved for medically for these guys. Yes.
Oh
These
Lord.
guys recover a lot better than they did, and the outlook is much better. You got to think way back in the day, like somebody like Gale Sayers, when he tore his ACL, he was never the same. He wasn't that same dude. Now, like I said, Adrian Peterson, he had the best season of his career after an ACL tear. So it just all depends on what's being done, the severity of the injury. Yeah, it was 9 months exactly, and MCL, and he again, Rick won the MVP. He was just a dominant force after that ACL. It was impressive.
I
But then
mean,
again, he's an outlier. I would say he's an outlier.
he is an outlier, but B, if you think about it, this is actually Bosa's second reconstruction on the same right knee because he had a previous injury all the way back to high school that he admitted about it, and he said that now that he's a professional athlete, it's actually taken him it hit him emotionally because but the good thing is he's pressed through. He's actually at phase 3 of OTAs, rehabbing in Santa Clara, and of course Kyle Shanahan is expecting that he's going to be right ready to go targeted for the start of the major training camp. But if the Niners want to contend out west, they got to have him healthy, anchoring that defensive front alongside Raheem Morris's new scheme because it's got to be pivotal. We just got to see it. We did not see the 49ers were beat up towards the end of the season, like horribly beat up. And it just was kind of sad not to see them. I mean, I'm sick of the Rams. Let me just put that out there. It ain't about what they did to Carolina. I'm just sick of them in general. And when they lost their last game, I inboxed every single play on Instagram. I inboxed every one of them. And I have to tell y'all what the message said. I copied and pasted. I inboxed every one of them. None of them saw the message. I don't follow none of them, but I wanted them to know that somewhere when you decide to look at these messages, I don't care how long it is, that you lost. You took that L, and you are fallible after all. So I want to
I
see the
think 31
49ers.
teams are going to be fallible at the end of the year, but that's
Yeah.
that's the side of point. But as far as San Francisco is concerned, a lot of teams last year had deafening injuries on in their defense. I think this is the reason why the format has changed for the beginning of the preseason, for the beginning training and OTAs and stuff like that. There's not a lot there. I don't think there's any teams that are playing against each other scrimmages I don't think any team's playing scrimmages this year. And I think that's to cut down on the injuries. I sure appreciate that the Lions have got to that point because injuries were just destroying the defense. Our defense sucked. And you can't put Timothy from the street on there and expect him to ball out. It ain't going to happen that way. So you got to have some players on your team to play defense. And when San Francisco was the same thing, they lost Bosa. They lost their middle linebacker. Who was the middle linebacker that they lost to? They also lost him for the rest of the season. They had decimated their injuries. They were decimated too, and they still managed to carry on. I give them that. But at the same time, man, if they would have had those players playing, they might have went further than they did. So yeah, Warner. Thank you, Steve. Warner.
Yeah.
Thank you, Steve. So yeah,
Fred
it is what it is. So you really want to get to through the season without everybody's going to have some type of little nagging injury or something by the end of the season, but to be totally out of the picture period, that's what these teams want to prevent. When it comes to playoff time, so it matters.
Well, speaking of what matters, I was going to wait and talk about this possibly tomorrow, but I want to get y'all's opinion on this. Another NFL related matter, Green Bay, who will be welcoming Mike McCarthy back as their head coach. We already know that Aaron Rodgers will be returning. I said that all wrong. Mike McCarthy is in Pittsburgh. Woo! Mm-hmm. I'm thinking about Aaron, and it's the correlation of Green Bay. I'm about to talk about Green Bay, y'all. I'm talking about Jordan Love's team. My apologies. In my mind, I was just so ready to insult Aaron Rodgers that I had to put that plug in there. Yeah. But anyway,
that's doing OTAs. Yeah.
Yeah, Matt LaFleur's got a problem in Green Bay already, y'all. Their running back, Josh Jacobs, was arrested on Tuesday in Brown County, Wisconsin, facing a felony. Now, come on. If y'all didn't know anything about Stephon Diggs, even though he just beat his charges because they were totally fabricated, uh, but now this dude decides to go ahead and really, act out what Steph didn't act out. And it is none other than strangulation alongside 4 misdemeanor counts, including assault, criminal damage to property, disorderly conduct, and victim intimidation. This is according to NFL.com. From a
Allegedly.
procedural standpoint, the Brown County District Attorney's Office announced on Wednesday that their office is not ready to drop a formal charging decision just yet. They've sent it back for additional investigation, which means basically all the officers' statements, corroborating witnesses, et cetera, to see if there's more evidence out there than what has been said, which means could be a he say, she say, we never know. But Jacobs did get arrested, was released from custody, and his defense team said they're pleased with the release and that this is a massive dark cloud now hanging over the Packers backfield. And it's crazy because from a football perspective, y'all, if Jacob does end up being disciplined for this, no matter if it's from the NFL or from a criminal standpoint, he's going to be facing a long-term legal battle regardless, and an eventual league suspension under the personal conduct policy. Green Bay's offense is going to be absolutely disrupted if this happens.
I wouldn't say that. I think they're already disrupted, to tell you the truth. I don't think they're as good as people think they are. But at the same time, Jacobs is a good running back, but they do have a couple of capable backup running backs that will do the job just as well. I think Jacobs is on his
right.
They got what's his name, Marshawn. What the hell is his last name? But he's an effective runner. They got him last season. He was a rookie. He got hurt. So this will be his first season starting, but he had times when he wasn't hurt, he played very well behind Jacobs. So, I mean, they should be fine. I mean, they've done they've kind of stripped down their offense a little bit as far as the receivers are concerned. Got rid of like the ones that, are and then, kept the ones that they should have kept. Christian Watson and stuff like that. So I don't think their offense is that bad, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Marshawn Lloyd. Thank you.
Marshawn Lloyd. Yeah, he is pretty decent. But the bell cow is definitely Josh Jacobs. And this would definitely hurt them, I think. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I like Matt LaFleur, and I think Matt LaFleur runs a great offense. But I think they do need they need a star receiver there. But you also need to start running back. I think you also need, and the guy that's fit that bill is Josh Jacobs, and it would hurt their offense if he wasn't the guy there. And again, all these charges are alleged, so we got to let this play out and see what's going on. But I mean, those are some scary charges. And if they were legit, he's definitely not going to be playing football anytime soon. And
well, I feel the fact that they released him the next day tells you about the whole situation between him and the accuser. Of the victim. Okay.
Right.
We know how this plays sometimes, not in the favor. Well, it sometimes tries to play in the favor of the victim. And let's not butter that up, because if this person is a legitimate victim, that needs to be stopped.
Right.
Jacobs needs to pay the price for that. But at the same time, we've seen this happen before, and we've seen the accuser be the one that's the one. Nothing really happened like they said it did, and they put somebody out there and tarnish their name because you decide you want to play, FF games with people. So, and that, to me, letting him out of jail the next day, that just tells me a little bit of something's going on. They found out some things pre letting him out, and it's like, yeah, I think we can let him out. I don't think he's going to be doing anything like that. So.
What do you think, Sonia? Do you think that this is?
Go ahead, James.
I was just going to say, do you think this is a situation that because they let him out, that it might be? I mean, because it said that obviously they don't have enough evidence to really hold him or keep him in. But you being the legal expert, you can tell me a little bit more.
So while we were looking at that, I was looking to see if he had any conditions for the release, because sometimes it's not necessarily about the timing of the release, but it's about the conditions of the release. They noticed they did not say we've dropped off charges. They say we're doing further investigation. Generally, people don't even get taken into custody just off of verbal. It has to be some type of evidence, and he did at least spend the night. It does say he does not have any formal criminal charges being filed at this time, but the criminal justice process, you don't always receive the charges right away. The arrest is just the first part of the criminal justice process. Then the district attorney takes a look at the evidence, and then they give it to a grand jury that brings forth the indictment. And so they have, it's not like the next day. It's only the next day in terms of someone that has a serious felony. And it's really not even like 24 hours next day. I'm saying, like, if you've committed one of the 7 deadly sins, which is murder, rape, assault, drug trafficking, some of those type things, where you sat in jail for more than 2 or 3 weeks with no bond, and that's because first appearances are generally held at the misdemeanor level. And if once you have a felony, certain judges do not have, well, all judges, according to the federal law, do not have the power to assess a bond for a felony charge if they're a misdemeanor judge, state judge. So they have to bound it over to Superior Court, and then you go before them to get your bond. But he was released without the charges filed right now because the DA said they're not going to even look at him at the moment, but there's no standard condition on his bond or bail restrictions right now, such as travel bans or even a cash bail requirement, which does look advantageous for him to beat the charges. However, they did say there was enough probable cause for the initial police arrest. And that's what's concerning, because if you have the probable cause, that is the gas that goes in the tank that gets the car to start. And so even though it may not be to the level of a felony, and of course, everyone's innocent until proven guilty, just the fact there and being quoted as saying not yet prepared is not saying we're not going to make it. Or like, it's a clear case when there's nothing at all and they just say we've failed to prosecute, we're dismissing. But right now, there's a higher legal threshold of beyond a reasonable doubt at this stage than it is later once it goes before the grand jury and things like that. He was released unconditionally right now, while the DA's office and the Hobart Lawrence Police Department are conducting ongoing open investigations to gather and evaluate additional evidence. Now, the DA's office is saying they will review the supplementary evidence at a later date to determine whether the formal criminal charges are appropriate, and if so, what specific charges those will be. Because you got to remember, he's got 4 charges. So whereas he may have been booked on 4, maybe the lesser charges are the ones that stick. We don't know because it's just all coming out. But for right now, it looks favorable. But if it was extremely favorable, they would have said they would not prosecute and it would have been done. So there's a little bit of a difference there than saying we're going to continue to investigate. That means they believe they're not going to use their time and resources if they don't think there's at least something out there. Now, what that something is, none of us know. He knows because he was involved in it. And he also knows if this is, a quarrel, a lover's quarrel or a family member's quarrel or whatever, that they're just trying to tarnish his name. But whatever it is, that information should be coming out relatively quickly, and we should be able to have an update on that by the next time we're all together. But we wish him the best of luck.
I mean, I can see it like this. The reason why he got arrested is domestic disturbance, domestic violence disturbance. If they get a call like that, the police is automatically going to separate the 2 parties. And usually it's the guy that goes to jail. So that I can see. This is a very good point, too, what Rick brought up. Strangulation should be visible. Now, yes, they could say something, she could have been saying all kinds of stuff about, well, he strangled me, he did this and he did that. And then because it's always due process. Okay. It's always due process. They're going to, even if they let him out, it's still due process. They're going to find out what's what, because at the same time, if the woman made those charges on him and they were falsified charges, she could be prosecuted as well.
Well, they don't normally just take people to jail over a domestic disturbance without some type of eyewitness visible. Like
Oh,
Rick
yes, they
said,
do. I've seen that
I
happen a lot of times in Michigan.
that
They
someone
will
goes
take
to
that
jail and
party
there's
and
no.
somebody will go to jail. Yeah, even if they
Like he said,
separate the
usually it's the
parties.
man. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's usually the man that
Yeah.
goes to jail. I've seen it so
Yeah.
many times before here in Michigan. I don't know how they do it in any other state, but I know in
It's a
Michigan,
lot of
and
places. Usually just
there's a domestic disturbance between a male and female, whatever the case may be. Somebody they separate the person, and the person that's
They're gonna do that.
accused
Yeah.
of the domestic
Mhm.
disturbance is going to be the one that goes to jail.
Yeah,
And
they'll ask you.
and
They'll try
they'll
to
press
determine the aggressor.
yeah, they'll determine the aggressor once they got both parties away from each other. That's when they do their investigation and do the due process. And like I said, that is a very good point that Rick made. If they see she talks all this stuff about she got strangled and all that, there should be effects of that on her. And if they didn't see those effects on her, and he's sitting in prison, or he's sitting in jail, not prison, but he's sitting in jail, and they said, well, you know what, I didn't see the effects of the strangulation. He might still have other charges. You're right, Sony. He might still have lesser charges. But if that's one of the things, that's probably the reason why they let him out.
And that's the main charge they have, which is if they have that, they should have never listed that. That means they're just going off of her word. And like, I don't care what skin tone you are. If you've been choked, it is visible. Male, female, light brown, whatever. You're going to be visible. So, like I said, I'll do some more digging on that. But that's still going to be a hit because y'all know the justice system plays the way it plays, and the NFL tacks their stuff on after the fact. So it may be something we don't know the total effect unless they decide not to prosecute across the board. Then this is a defamation case, honestly, because he's a public figure. But knowing this type of situation, she probably doesn't have the money to even pay a defamation claim anyway. But best of luck to Mr. Jacobs in that situation. Let's talk about some MLB as we get ready to wrap up the last couple of minutes here, guys. It's been a great hour, of course, rolling towards June. Sample sizes are getting real, and divisional races are taking distinct shapes. And let's look at the top 5 teams in both the AL and the NL based on the active standings. Of course, Tampa Bay Rays still hanging in there, 34-19, top of the AL right now, followed by the Yankees at number 2, 34-22. They're right behind them. Still same amount of wins, just a couple more losses than the Rays have. And then, believe it or not, the Guardians are right behind them, the Cleveland Guardians, 33-25. Y'all remember the former Cleveland Indians. So used to getting the name. Chicago White Sox dangling in there at number 4, 29-27, almost even losses and wins. And then the Toronto Blue Jays wrapping up the top 5 for the AL at 28-29. I mean, they are barely in there. And then my favorite division, the NL, the number 1 team, the Atlanta Braves, 38-19, number 1 right now in the entire nation, followed by the LA Dodgers, 36-20 at number 2, the Milwaukee Brewers at number 3 at 33-20. The Arizona Diamondbacks hanging in there 31-24 at number 4. And rounding out is not our Padres, but the San Diego Padres at 31-24 for the number 5 position. The Braves are absolutely blistering, James. I mean, they're sitting at 38-19, offense clicking, even with rotation adjustments. They look like the absolute juggernaut that we were expecting. But you got to keep an eye on those Philadelphia Phillies. I mean, their managerial.
It scares me around this time. I'm trying not to even get excited. Like B mentioned about his team last season and how they just let things just dismantle.
Okay, I mean, they are, and they're always like this
Pittsburgh,
the
Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yeah.
And
let us say something about the AL Central real quick before you continue on with your Braves. The NL Central is one of the best. The best division right now is the NL Central. No team has an under 500 record right now.
Right, all over team. 6. I mean, you can't
even those Pirates,
West especially. The Dodgers are doing really good at 36-20, but Arizona and San Diego are right on them. So it's zero room to breathe in that division overall. Anyway, all right, guys, that's all we got tonight. Thanks everybody for all the comments. Over 37 comments on here, and seeing everything. And thank you, B and James, for working with my lighting. I got some little irritation going on, so y'all don't think I didn't do the glam tonight, but we appreciate everybody coming on, likes, loves, and make sure you join James and B in the morning at 8 sharp with Jack Hirsch for the debate show, and Sunday morning big sports show, and the BW Flick reviews and everything else in between. And of course, I'm on tomorrow at 4 with the legal score. And with that, we bid everybody good night. Y'all have an enjoyable last finale of May 2026. Good night.